Hello bookworms, I'm Becca and welcome back to another video. Today's video, as the title suggests, is going to be my first little taste at designing in Dinkum. I discovered that you can plant in the water and I just lost my absolute mind, and I could not be stopped until I turned this little pond on my island into more of like a swampy water feature. I think it's going to be more of the focal point of my little town, I guess, if you want to call it. I don't know if we should call it a town or a settlement. I don't know. But it's gonna be the focal point of my village, my base camp. I'm just throwing out all the words so that you know what I'm talking about. And I wanted to take y'all along for the journey of me building it because boy howdy was it a journey. So let's jump into it. So just a quick thing before we jump into the build, you're gonna notice that the size of the video kind of changes over time, and that's because, well, you probably just saw something pop up on the bottom. The first part of this footage is from the stream where I actually discovered that you can plant things in the water, so I spent the whole rest of stream starting out the build for this pond, and I didn't want to completely scrap the rest of that footage, so you might see like emotes fly across the screen or things pop up on the bottom for the beginning chunk of all of this, so just keep that in mind. If you do want to come hang out and watch me build and design and play this game live, I stream over on Twitch a few times a week, and I'm slowly making the move to streaming on YouTube, so make sure you sub and follow on all of those things if you want to hang out live. But anyway, let's get into more of the build. So like I said, once I figured out that you can plant in water, it was pretty much all over. I started by putting some grass along that second kind of level that is kind of covered by water, but not really into the depth of the pond. And I liked that because it gave a little bit more of an algae look to it. I used the regular grass, a few spots are tropical grass, and then most of it is the fir grass, which you can find in the cold region. And after that, I kind of just gathered any seeds that I have from all of the trees and bushes and flowers. You can see me kind of testing out what is going to grow, what is not. I really liked how the wattle flower, I think that's what it's called, the bushes that look like the yellow puffs, but they're bushes, I really like how those end up growing in the water. And you can see I'm putting down like a bench and a pile of books because I got a sand brand. The one thing that I really loved while I was building this is that you can see the residents starting to kind of come over and check out what is going on. Very similar to when you're doing a build on Animal Crossing, but a lot less annoying because all the residents really wanted to do here was sit in the bench, and I did not mind sitting in the bench with them. I thought it was super cute. You can often find Franklin waist deep in the freaking pond anyway, so I had to give them a bench to sit on. Now I'm just laying down some spots to plant the sugar cane, which I figured out that not only can you plant trees and bushes and flowers in the pond, but you can also plant crops. It does take a little bit of playing around with, but I really wanted the sugar cane specifically to work because once that is grown in, it looks almost like cattails. And so it was really important to me to get that not only around the edges of the pond in a lot of spaces, but also in the water as well, like all the way in the water. And I wasn't sure if it was going to be able to work because when we were first trying to water it, when it was growing in the water, I couldn't quite get it. But as you can see now, once I got the copper watering can, it was a game changer because with the copper watering can, it does the 3 tiles across, and so it's a little bit finicky. You have to build out a little bit to stand up on different squares in the water, and I'll talk more about that later. But what you're really trying to do is trick the game into watering one of the tiles on the end by actually watering the tile in the middle. So if that makes sense, hopefully it makes sense. I'm not entirely sure. But now I'm just adding some more of the sugar cane around the edges once I figure out how to get the watering done. And pretty much you can even plant stuff right in the middle of the pond. Some of the things you need to build out a little ways to be able to stand on that lower portion to build out, but you can plant things pretty much anywhere in the pond, which I thought was really cool. And adding more of the vegetation around and within the pond gives it more of a swampy vibe, which is what I was really going for. So I collected a lot of the different bushes from around the map, the bottle brush flower, the wattle flower, I think that's what it's called, and the different like actual flowers to plant in there. I added some banana trees as well as the regular trees that you find around the map just to make it feel really grown in and cozy. That was my main goal, was to make it feel cozy, because this pond is the reason why I put my base camp there, and I really wanted to make it a focal point of my little base camp town, whatever you want to call it. So I knew that I was going to want to do some designing around it, and I'm really glad that I stumbled upon this, because when I play Animal Crossing, my build style is very woodsy, very overgrown. So I knew right away that designing this way in Dinkum was going to be very up my alley. You can see now that I'm tearing up a lot of the grass that I literally put down at the start of the video, and when I was watching this back when I was editing, I was kicking myself because I did not realize that I had literally laid down all of that grass only to go through and tear every single piece up again, because I decided that I wanted the fir grass rather than the yellow grass. I just thought that with the yellow grass that you find in the bushlands, it was a little bit too yellow, especially with the trees that are more of a yellow green. I wanted to vary up the colors a little bit. I started out by doing it with a regular hoe that you just buy from Rain that does one tile at a time, and eventually I upped my farming enough to be able to make a copper hoe to till the land 3 tiles at a time. But what I found is that even though I can do more land and it uses less stamina, the copper hoe breaks at the same rate as the regular hoe. And I don't know if that is intentional or I was just using it like way too much or what. But that was the quickest way that I had learned to be able to tear up the grass, other than literally digging up one tile at a time with the shovel and then replanting it back down for the dirt. If you just go through and till the land, it tears up the dirt, and then you can easily go over top of it with a shovel and remove the tilled part to be able to plant grass or whatever you want on top of it. And that seemed to go the quickest. I was pretty bummed about the copper hoe though, because I thought for sure that I would be able to get a lot more done with it, and I could, but I ended up just going back to the regular hoe because I don't have a lot of copper. I just got the deep mines in the game, and I don't know, y'all, let me know in the comments if you have done the deep mines, because I don't think I'm cut out for that environment, okay? I just want copper, I just want iron, I just need the ore. I'm not trying to fight all of these beasts that you can find in the mines. I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed, I'm literally this close to installing a peaceful mining mod. I'm not cut out for the mines, but I need the ore, and so rather than going and trying to mine all of the ore that I needed to make a tool that didn't even last as long as I wanted it to last, I just used the regular one. That way I could buy replacements from Rain, and it was no big deal. This build took me freaking forever though. In real time it took me about maybe like 4-ish hours, but in game it took so long, and that's mostly because obviously I kept running out of stamina. I don't have a lot of food. I just said that I didn't want to be fighting the animals in the mines. I'm not a hunter in this game. I don't hunt. I'm more of a foraging kind of person. Farming, I'm just trying to hang out on my farm. I will stay in my own lane. I'll stay in my cozy farm. The animals can roam around wherever they want to. I don't need any of that drama, okay? And so if you're like me, which I feel like a lot of people are, I've been hearing from more people that they don't like hunting in the game, mostly because of the animal sounds, which is totally valid. I more am just like horrible at combat, so I can't do it. And if you're like me, then I would highly recommend starting out by getting an orchard. Planting all that fruit will let you be able to make the fruit salads, which can get you through a lot of stuff in the game. Also, actually the best form of energy that I have found so far is the fried eggs. So whenever Erwin visits your island, make sure you pick up a couple of the chickens, so then you can have more eggs and then cook them right away, get those fried eggs, because it gives you a lot of stamina and health, and it extends those bars. So very helpful. Probably the quickest way that I have found in the style of playing that I do. Obviously, it's not for everyone. A lot of people are totally fine going out and doing the hunting in the game. If I was better at combat, I probably wouldn't mind it as much. I will say that if a crocodile starts invading my territory, that thing is getting murked straight away. I am not afraid to off a crocodile if I have to, but I'm not going out picking fights with the bush devils and the cassowaries. Okay, I'm not about that life. Anyway, so I started getting the fir grass from the different areas in the game where you get the darker grass from. I cut out the majority of me gathering the grass seed just because I already have a lot of me ripping up the grass. I didn't know how interesting, probably not at all interesting, it would be to keep a bunch of footage of me farming grass seed. But here I am just tearing up the tilled areas so I can go through and plant down the seed. And y'all, these areas are bigger than you think they are. I probably have close to 500 fir seed planted, and every time it would start sprouting up new of the long grass, I cut that down immediately and hoped to the Dinkum gods that it gave me seed, because I did not want to have to keep going and farming seed from all over my map. I was terrified of the bush devils. It was a mess. It was a mess. I don't know whose idea it was to do the dark grass in this build, because it certainly was not mine. Except it definitely was mine. It's fine. It's fine. We handled it. And actually with the dark grass, it looks incredible. And now I've added in a lot of the vegetation all the way around the pond, it looks like. And what I found added a lot of dimension was varying up the vegetation. So having a variety of the trees. I want to add in some more pine trees. That is the one thing that I need to add more of. I think I have 2 planted, but I need the iron, I'm assuming that it's iron, axe, because the copper axe was not strong enough for the pine trees. However, I could be wrong. Maybe because I had pine cones from somewhere. I don't know how I got the pine cones. It very well could have been from pine trees. I don't know. I don't know how I got them, but I had a couple, so I planted them. My favorite thing, like I said, are the flower bushes. I think that the bottle brush flowers look incredible, and it adds a lot of dimension with the red flowers. The purple flowers look really nice. All of the colors in the game just work really well together, and I don't have to think too much about what color story I want or anything like that, like the same way I have to do for Animal Crossing. Also, can we just talk for a second here about how I'm literally planting in water here? Animal Crossing could never. And it's a solo dev, so I don't know what Nintendo is thinking, but they need to get on this level. It's no wonder that a bunch of Animal Crossing content creators are moving over to Dinkum, because it's almost like the developer looked at Animal Crossing and said, look at all of these things wrong with the game. I can fix that, and then did. So it's incredible. I freaking loved it. I dinked, if you will, to this game. I cannot put it down. It's taken over my whole life, as I'm sure y'all can tell. I've been playing it pretty much nonstop. So anyway, here I am laying down some more of that fir grass. I didn't have a lot of the seeds when I was filming this footage, so I really wanted to make sure that I at least had around the pond covered so that I can give you a last look. But I ended up going in and pretty much finishing the area, so I'll give you more of a completed look at the end of this video. And towards the end, you'll see too that I start kind of pushing back the land around it and deciding like where I'm gonna move my buildings and stuff like that. Since this is going to be the focal point, I want everything else to kind of be surrounding this little area. I think that that would be perfect. The one thing with a build like this in this game though, I will say, if you're going to be designing in Dinkum, make sure that what you're putting down is where you're going to keep your base camp, because there is no freaking way that I'm going to relocate a build like this to another area of my map. There's just no way. It took way too long, and at first I wasn't even sure if this is where I want my base camp to stay, but now that I have this on my island, I'm kind of locked in to having my town be located around this area of the map. But maybe in the future I'll end up moving it and keeping this as a nostalgic little, remember when I did this build? Who knows? We'll see. But I can already tell, I keep thinking like as I'm terraforming and building in this game, comparing and contrasting it to Animal Crossing, as I'm sure a lot of people are doing. It is easier to do stuff like this in Animal Crossing because with that terraforming tool, you can build up dirt from nothing. You can build up dirt and dig out water from literally nothing. Whereas in this game, think of it more as relocating the resources that you already have. So there are tools that you can get from Franklin, a compactor that can tear the cliffs down to be all one level pretty easily. But once that dirt is gone, it's gone. You can't just get it back. So I would say that if you are going to be tearing out a large area, that would probably be the way to do it, but make sure that it's something that you really want to tear out, because I tore out a whole section of my beach and now I'm gonna have to build that sand up all by my lonesome self with a shovel and a wheelbarrow. So unfortunately, if you're going to be building up cliffs, all that I know of right now is using the shovel, and I guess the wheelbarrow makes it a little easier because you can at least put the dirt in there to hold it while you fill it up, and then you can move it to wherever you're relocating it to. But if you're going to be making like massive things, you're going to be relocating a lot of dirt. So I would maybe refrain from tearing down too much on your island. Work in small chunks to get it how you want. Make sure that what you're building is exactly what you want, because even with this, I spent so much time laying down the regular grass. I went and I got all of that seed, which wasn't too terrible because it was the same grass in the area where I was living. But then I quickly realized that that's not even the grass that I wanted, so I had to tear it all out, which wasted a lot of time. So yeah, it's definitely not as easy as in other games, I would say. That's kind of the nice thing about Animal Crossing, is you can kind of build up and tear down as you need, whereas I feel like terraforming and designing in Dinkum is probably not going to be people's forefront. It's not going to be your choice of things to focus on, things to prioritize. Like me, I don't know why I saw this pond, I got incredibly hyper focused, and I could think of literally nothing else until I had the swamp area of my dreams. So don't be like me, is basically what I'm saying. I mean, it turned out great, like it looks really cute, but y'all, if anyone has a better way of terraforming, let me know, because your girl just has plans for this island and no willpower. Maybe I just need to open my island up for friends or something and have people come over and help me build up sections. That's another thing too that I haven't really played around with, is the multiplayer. So let me know if you have tried that out and how you're kind of liking it in the comments below, because I would love to know how other people are finding multiplayer. I keep trying to look for islands that are open for the public. I'm not going to be opening up my island for the public, probably, unless someone can convince me otherwise. Mostly because someone could literally come in and wipe down this entire area, which stresses me out so bad. I cannot believe I cannot believe how much you can do in multiplayer. You can have someone come over and just want to be an absolute dink, if you will, and pocket literally everything on your island and then dip out. That's too much pressure. That's too much pressure for me. I cannot handle it. I will be sticking to opening my islands for friends, if that, or just doing it on my lonesome. So like I said, if you want to come along for that journey of seeing me do stuff like this and hyper focus for years on end, in game years on end, then you're gonna want to come check out my streams, because if I'm already doing stuff like this, who knows? The next thing that I'm gonna figure out, I'm gonna be hyper focused on it, and I won't be able to stop. I will not be able to stop until it's done. So now looking at it, it's getting a lot more fleshed out. You can kind of see it's turning into its own little section. Melvin is hanging out over by the bridge. Freaking Melvin. Melvin loves the pond with his whole heart and literally will come and water my sugarcane that is growing all the time. Also, doesn't it look like cattails when it's growing in? I don't know, maybe that's just me. I got a letter in game from Melvin while I was doing this build, and it just said, "Hey Becca, I just want to let you know that I am really proud of all of the work that you are doing on this island." Melvin, please! But yeah, I love him. So now I'm just adding the stone path, and I'm gonna start kind of wrapping it up, and then I will be able to show you kind of the last look. With the stone path, it's super easy to make too. You just need 2 stone, and I think that makes 8 paths each. So if you have a lot of stone by your base, then it should be easy. And I like the way that it looks a little bit more natural than some of the pathing in game. But yeah, I think that that's pretty much it for the build, and now I will toss it over to my little walkthrough of the more completed build. Okay, so this is the completed pond for right now. As you can see, all of the grass pretty much is placed in, except for some areas over here, but I think that I'm going to add more road over there, so I didn't want to fill it in completely. I really like the stone path. It gives it a much more natural feel, and I feel like here you can really see how grown in everything looks a lot more than in the footage that I made. So let me just do a quick little walk over the bridge here and take a peek. I'm thinking that on this side of the bridge, I'm going to start putting some more of my shops. Clover is saying hi. G'day, Clover! Whatever. Coming this way, I added a lot of the banana trees, and everything is just more grown in. You can really see the sugarcane that is planted in the water. I'm so jazzed about that. Oh my goodness sake. I just really love how this all came together. I can picture it now coming down the steps of the little town hall when people come to visit, and this is the view that you get. It's so nice. The one thing that I hate is that the steps have to be 3 wide because the building is 5 by 5. Why? Listen, game developers, listen. Please, for the love of God, make dimensions equal. Oh my gosh, especially because the bridge is 2 wide, but now my steps have to be 3 wide. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to mask that in some way, maybe with the road, or I don't know, some more like decorating, do something over here. But in the future, if developers could please start making things equally, that would be incredibly helpful. I like just standing here. I mean, look at this. It is so pretty. And this is really unlike anything that I've seen in the game so far. I have seen a couple other islands. I was watching one island tour video that was a little bit of the inspiration for this build, because they really channeled like cottagecore vibes on their island, and so I will leave that video linked in the description below so that you can check out other people and get some inspiration because it is incredible what people have been working on. So like I said, if you want to be able to plant things further down in the water, the trees aren't that big of a deal because you can just plant them with a shovel, it's fine. But to get the sugarcane a little bit further out, let me find a piece that is a little bit further out. Like this sugarcane over here is a bit further out, so you can see I haven't even knocked it down yet. I built into my pond so that I have a little spot to stand. I don't have my watering can, but basically what I do is I just try my best to stand right up on this so that the watering can registers the 3 squares across. So when I water, it hits that square that has the sugar cane. Super easy in case you want to do something similar on your island. But yeah, there is my little pond build. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you end up doing something similar on your island, make sure you tag me in it so that I can see your swampy pond builds. I'm just envisioning a super cozy cottagecore Dinkum island with jackaroos hopping around and no crocodiles. Manifesting no crocodiles, no bush devils. You know, we gotta be careful out here in the wilderness. But yeah, that's all I really got for everyone today. If you haven't already, go ahead and like the video and hit that sub button so that you can stay up to date on my videos and when I'm going live. Follow me on Twitch. Come drop by my streams, whether they be on Twitch or YouTube. We've been playing a whole lot of Dinkum, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon. But like I said, that's all I really got for you today, and I will see you next time. Bye!